Well, I'm driving to Ontario. I've been more comfortable in my life. As many of you know, I went down today and it's nothing. I got a road rash on my elbow, but my back and my tailbone is a little bit sore. That's life. I'd said to somebody in passing, you think things are bad. The horses are racing bad, and we're all collectively licking our wounds and wondering when it will pass and the horses will turn back around and come to life, and they will. But you're quickly reminded from time to time, at least I was today, how things can really get bad. I land on my knee the wrong way, break my knee, maybe I hurt my back. There could have been a million things happen, and obviously very fortunate that it's just this is, I get out and walked around there when I got gas a few minutes ago. It really wasn't that bad. Now I'm sure I'll be in rougher shape tomorrow. It's just the way it is. You're not meant to hit the track doing 30 miles an hour, and it certainly doesn't feel cool. It certainly doesn't feel cool when it happens, when you're 48, right? I think it still hurt when I was young, though, to be honest. I'll be the first to admit, and I talked about this last week and this week, the horses have been flat. Sometimes it takes something like today for me personally to put things into perspective. The horses weren't horrible today. A lot of the issues that we went through this week, some of them were attributed to expectations, mine, yours, everybody's. You look at a horse like Perfection Hanover, I think he paced 54 and a piece 55 today, but just wasn't good enough, right? And that's the frustrating part when you look at your horses and they're present, right? He didn't waver, he didn't walk, he just wasn't quite good enough. And then you see me touting a horse like Leland Hanover, who on the whole, to look at the lines, Perfection's line is actually better than Leland's. I just didn't feel the same way about the two horses. And it's tough too. You're wading through all these emotions and all these feelings. Last week was not a great week. It was okay, but not great. Sunday, Monday felt like things were turning the corner a little bit. Judy's money certainly, these are the things, especially the horses that you don't expect. I know we've had clients out there that have said to me, "Oh, I knew Judy's money would be good. I knew, I just had a feeling." Okay, cool. Because we sat behind her lots of times and liked her, but never had the feeling that she was going to run off in 57. That she was going to overcome that left hind leg. Bothers her. It's bruised for sure a little bit. Left line hard the other night. Still runs off. Not only is it a breath of fresh air to see it happen, but it's impressive from somebody who sits behind them. And you guys know when I come across a horse that I got a ton of respect for, it's just such a treat to be able to drive a horse that just puts that gritty effort in. The way we train them, the way we hope they are, the way we want them to be. And then just to go out and execute it, it's a great feeling. And we haven't had a ton of those yet this year. It was nice to see Perfect Thought win. I talked a lot about optimism and pessimism, a little bit of realism in the barn. And a race like Perfect Thoughts is a perfect example of the different types of mentalities, the different attitudes towards the barn. I can tell you this, I am not a pessimistic person. I refuse to be. There's no point in being pessimistic. Somebody said, well, no, it's realistic. No, 90% of the people that say they're realistic are actually just pessimistic, in my opinion, the ones that I've met anyway. There are the very analytical people that can take a step back, take a deep breath, and give you a very realistic approach to any situation. I deal with a lot of you, a lot of our clients. And some of you watching that aren't our clients, I deal with that is loud. I deal with a lot of people on a daily basis. My favorite people, given the situation, are the people that can do that, right? Step back and give you an analytical, surgical approach to either a problem or a situation or a barn. It gives me a fresh perspective because I am not a pessimistic person, and in some cases not a realistic person either. I am a very optimistic human being. And you can tell the problem with being optimistic is you get your heart broke a lot, right? Leland Hanover hasn't broke my heart. I think the best days are way ahead for Leland Hanover. I hoped and thought that he'd be ready to rock in August, but it's funny, I was coming up to the gate, and I told you guys this in an earlier video from this afternoon, coming up to the gate, and I looked left at Yannick's horse. What a gorgeous horse. Big, strapping, strong colt. But he didn't race good. Now, I have no idea if he's sick or what was wrong with him, but he didn't race good. It was 10 cents on the dollar. Leland Hanover's a little more defined behind. He should have that big muscular body. He's a June 10th colt, though. So in that regard, my heart never really got broke. But there's horses out there, right? Grand Slam, Dio, Melisandre, decent horses, but heartbreakers. I got to see Aunt Sarah, who I really thought was days, definitely in the mix of going to the next generation for us. Fast forward 3, 4, 5 weeks, and she out in the field. Rose Run Bobby, so fast all spring long. Just couldn't put it all together. That doesn't mean she can't. It doesn't mean that Aunt Sarah won't come back and be a nice horse. But we get lost in the waves, right? These waves of 2-year-olds coming in. Everybody's got a nice horse. Everybody's got a bad horse. You want to have the nicest of the nice horses and get rid of the bad horses. That's what we're always trying to do. But as the waves come crashing down in July and August, you get lost sometimes. And then factor in a little sickness. Well, wow. That can really muddy the water. Because I don't know. When I talked about Captain Doolittle, I'm confident in saying he tries hard, but he's not going to be a stable horse. But we'll go Strong Hanover. And further to that point, Perfection Hanover. Basic 54 and piece 55 today. Will he? Well, I'll tell you exactly what he paced. $54-4, 28-1 at the end of it. His line is much better than Leland Hanover's. I just don't feel the sense of urgency from Perfection. I just don't feel it. Maybe that's him growing. I don't know. Maybe he was a little sick. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. I'm not known for my pessimism, so I don't know if that's it at all. So all this stuff goes on, and you're left trying to reassess it, and then you have this virus that's going through the barn. And, for the most part, I think it's fair to say that, for the most part, we do very good, right? Now we're racing against the Ron Burks and the Chris Ryders and all the big trainers that come into town, or we go into their town. So it's different, but for the most part, we always do good. And it's hard when you can. It's hard when you race Perfection Hanover at long odds. All the horses we raced today were longer odds, except Patrick, who raced good. I was happy with him. A little disappointed I didn't get to drive him, but quite frankly, well, two. One, you're getting a Hall of Fame driver on him. And, and I was smashed up at the time. Still am somewhat. Fresh face on the horse, shake him up a little bit. So I was very, very happy with the way Patrick, I had no problem stepping aside anyway. I could have driven him. I was a little beat up. I'm sitting over there watching Yannick Gingras, knowing he's not in the race. Nothing wrong with him. I know I'm not 100%. There's that voice inside me saying, can't think of a reason why you're not taking yourself off and putting him on. I don't know if I would have been able to give him the bike very comfortably anyway. But he drove the horse good. So getting back to it, then you look at a horse, Sweet Lake, 5-horse field, 7-1, picked for third, dead heats for fourth, 54-1 last quarter, 27-4, amongst the fastest last quarters of the day, I would imagine. But fourth in a dead heat. But again, in the mix, right? It's frustrating. Then you're always left wondering, do they belong? One of our clients Ed, good guy, messaged me today, and he goes, you like to use sport analogies. I'll paraphrase. He said the sports analogies. He said the Detroit Tigers were fantastic all year long, and they were. And I'm sure they will be again. Baseball's so hard. I think a lot of people love it so much, and including me, because there's so many parallel lines between horse racing and baseball. There's no reason why a team can win or lose on any given night. You can prepare your team to do the best you can, but they still have to go out and execute. Much like the horses. We don't have a big team. It's myself and a horse, or a driver and a horse, but at the same time, very similar in the sense that you can prepare that horse to do its job well. But there's so many factors that go into it actually happening. He said the Tigers were on a tear all year long. They've lost 11 of their last 12. Now, Blue Jays might have helped them do that a little bit last 2 games. But when you get in a skid, it's hard to break that, right? How do you break it? Same way the Blue Jays did. Same way any team does. Same way anybody does. We talk about hitters and slumps, or pitchers and slumps. I talk about baseball a lot because it's summer. My son plays baseball. I like watching baseball. Trust your mechanics. Put the hard work in and things will come around. The same for horses. Horses' blood is a little low. We're racing against horses that aren't. When I bring a horse, it's a 7-to-1 horse to the track, and all things being equal, the bettors have made that horse 7-to-1. But that horse isn't 100%. It's not 7-to-1 now. Maybe it's 25-to-1. You just don't know it. And you can't tell. We scratched Spitfire overseas because we didn't think he was 100%. Well, in fact, we knew he wasn't. He had a high temperature. The horse in 2 races before, 3-Point Blue Chip, seemingly had nothing wrong with him, except he was terrible. Now, the good thing is that virus will pass through the whole barn and leave. But we have to continue to work on our mechanics. Rinse and repeat. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. We know what is wrong with the barn. It's not the shoes. It's not the vet work. It's a virus. That's the biggest reason I went back to the inside of the Arrowhead Hanover today. I knew he wasn't any good when I went to move him. Couldn't get by Mike Wilder starting into the turn going to the half. Well, the race already on. What am I going to do? I knew there was a shot that would happen going out in the track, and it did. So I ran him back through the inside and tried to find a helmet down the lane. If the seas parted, as I said in an earlier video, he might lumber through there and get the job done, but it wasn't going to be pretty. Out there, he was going to get stretched out, maybe hurt. In here, keep him safe. He'll bounce back. So again, we started off our week. Judy's money was great. Just such a great way to start the week, and she was so strong. And not 100%. Left line hard. Because that left hind's bothering her a little bit. Megan's lucky day looked pretty good. I was happy with her. Jolene Hall, she's heading to Kentucky this week. I love this filly. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this filly. My only concern is the flip-flops on her. Now, they're on Jailbird Jog also. We took them off of Degas because I didn't think she needed them, but I think Jailbird Jog does. And I think Jolene does. It would be very hard for me to enter Jolene Hall down there, take the flip-flops off her, race her down there, bring her back. She would race great, by the way, I'm sure. And then just put the other shoes back on her and ship her back to Ohio. Makes little sense. I love that filly, though. Steph's Hope was great. JK Victory raced good, and the only 2 flat miles of the day were horses that just weren't good right now. Out to the field they went. Aunt Sarah, Rosa, and Bobby. I just talked about them. Delicious Stone DK was awesome. Dominic and his crew have done a tremendous job with this horse. Raced great. Simply Chaotic was bad. Same as the 2 fillies the night before. Out to the field you go. There just doesn't seem to be and I need everybody to understand this, right? He's not a Sire Stake horse right now. He's not a grassroots horse right now. Why are we racing him when we can give him time off, let his body develop, mature, and bring him back, and then win the maiden and the Nommers or 2 with him? Sure, I want the horse to be good right now, but you can't force nature. You can't force him to be good. There's no vet I can bring the horse to. No shaman, no witch doctor I can bring the horse to. They'll say, fixed. No. Sometimes you just got to let them mature. You know, we went to Wednesday. Melisandre raced good. Diosa Della Danza was... I had the wire snake cord on her. She doesn't like it, but I didn't want to race her from anywhere near the front end. She bled the week before. We put her on Lasix. I talked about that in depth on Saturday. Just wanted a good race into her. I didn't realize they charged her with a brake. I guess you could charge her with a brake, but it didn't feel like a brake to me. She just got out of gear. She just needs a little reset. We'll get her it this week. And then we went to the 3 colts and the filly. Now, Jim Burry had I've documented this. Saturday morning, I told everybody. My biggest fear was that we were going to draw this blood and it would come back kind of normal. That would have been devastating for me. With the heat and the allergies, you just never know. But it wasn't devastating. All 4 bloods explained perfectly and matched up perfectly with what I saw. Jimboree, white count of 11,000. Emerald Tom, high liver count. Uncle Danny, old tie-up. And Supermind had a high weight count. Every single blood work could easily be matched to the performance the horse put in. And the good news is there's nothing substantial. The only thing that would be a little harder to get down quicker would be the liver count. It was at the high point of normal. And as I said to you after the race, I didn't think Emerald Tom raced bad. Better on a bigger track. I thought he raced okay. And that's kind of what his blood looked like. So I was all right with that. Little did I know that this was a trend that was going to continue throughout the week. Millie Girl, terrible. Scoped her full of mucus. SAA test of 800. We went through and did the SAA test on every horse. And just for your own records, so you can remember, Arrowhead Hanover was terrible today, but tested with an SAA test, that'd be the day before he raced, 2 days before he raced, 32. Now that could have been 32 on its way to 332, but it was 32. Memento Mori got his blood back today. Low platelets, so just a little for instance for you. Just remedial blood work 101. Low platelets, right in your blood, low red count, low iron, high bilirubin. Put those 4 things together, and what it usually means is the horse is bleeding. Now we scoped him after the race. No blood was found. Scoped him a good hour after the race. Doesn't mean he's bleeding from his lungs. Could have ulcers that are killing him. And then when you factor in how he's always been a little dainty, a little light with his weight, yeah, that's a believable story. How do we fix that? The ulcers are a bugger. They're hard to do sometimes. Obviously, the stress of racing, probably interfering his whole life, would be a trigger. Easier said than done to fix that, but we know where to look. We usually have I have some supplement at the barn that we get from California. It's a G-Track thing. I'm going to bring that over to Tim also, see if he'll eat it. Not Tim, the horse. I'm a little more upbeat. One, I didn't get killed today. I might be beat up, but I'm okay. And 2, all the things that I saw today, we know for the most part what caused them, right? We know what caused them. Go Strong Hanover, I have a suspicion that he's just a mediocre horse. It's very possible he is. Now, they didn't make it into the sale on Monday, so they got 2 weeks. By there's a few horses now in the barn that have made and penciled their way onto that list. I'm sure you can figure out who they are by listening to me talk over the last day or so. Gorgeous Package was great again. Just sweet little filly, man. What a nice little filly. And that's what makes the industry so great, is that you can get a Gorgeous Package for nothing, right? You can get a weenie for nothing. And sometimes you've got to pay a lot for a really good horse, but there's no rhyme or reason, right? You know, Jailbird Jog, who might be one of the fastest 2-year-old trotters I've ever sat behind. Now, $52,000 is not pittance, isn't chump change. But it's not what she's worth, I can tell you that. He's a fearless Peter. Just got to do more. He's a cheater. That's what he is. He's a cheater. He needs to work hard and buy into the idea that he can be a quality racehorse, but it's up to him. If he doesn't buy into that, and if he doesn't push through that, he doesn't use that, then he's not going to be staying with us. And that's the reality. But again, give him a few more starts. We'll let him try and figure it out on his own. And then we come to Friday. Captain Doolittle, I can't be mad at a horse that's doing all I can do. You can't be mad at that horse. It's not fair. It's just not good enough. Jerry's Girl. This started an email chain. Well, I guess not a chain, just one person at this point sent me an email about horses bleeding. And there is no one out there that can tell you definitively who will bleed, who won't bleed, what you can absolutely do to stop it. It just, I know there's a lot of old horsemen out there saying, oh yes you can. Oh no you can't. I don't care who you are. I've talked to some of the smartest people in the industry, surgeons, people that know a lot more than I'll ever know about the way a horse's body operates. My take as a horseman, you have allergy season, you have a breed now that's bred to go fast, and they are going fast. The Millie Girl didn't have a ton of blood. You know, in the old days when you said, oh, the horse bled, you see a little trickle of blood in their nose. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not the extent of the bleeding. It's a 3 out of, might have been 3 out of 10. I think she said 3 out of 5. Because I make fun of the vets about doing that in the meadows. Either way, that's in their lungs, in their throat, in their airway. And I think the biggest reason you don't see a lot more horses on Lasix is because people don't look. And that's not me chastising anybody. They're saying you should do this or you should do that. No. I had no real reason to check Cherry's Girl last night. She didn't walk. She was defeated. She had a valiant effort. Trotted 56 on a hot night. A 2-year-old trotting filly, 3rd lifetime start, coming off a little bit of sickness in Philadelphia, where she was destroyed. She was 8th, beat like 12. Last night was a good mile for that filly. There was no reason for me to check, except I wanted to. Had I not checked and said, you know what, guys, she raced good, but let's move her down to the Stallion Series. She goes out, wins at 58-3. We don't check again because she won. Maybe she finishes second the week after that. We don't check again because she raced good again. Maybe we don't check her the rest of the year. We don't know. Maybe she just puts in a poor performance at the end of the year. We scope her and say, darn it, she bled. Well, no. That's a culmination of her bleeding all year. It's up to us to know that. To check. That's my job. It's Tim's job. Jason's and Harry's and Dominic's. That's our job. A Cherry's Girl will go on Lasix. Big strapping filly like her. She might be a sire stake filly after all. Looks like money was great. Yo Mister did all he could being off 4 weeks. Right? Lifting legend. He's on that bubble, right? He's a better horse than Captain Doolittle, but by a lot? By some. Let's call it by some right now. Rico Tubbs had him checked today. They thought his hind ankles were bothering him a little bit. I don't know if I buy into that completely, but I'm not a vet. I didn't check him. If that did, Dr. Stanek thought that hind ankles were bothering him. Okay. I'm certainly not going to argue and say that's not what I saw. All right, I can buy into that a little bit, maybe. I thought more left stifle, maybe. Knees, being a trotter. But all right, hind ankles. We'll see if he's better like that. He already won at 57. I mean, again, there's a colt that was next to nothing at the yearling sale. He's already won a Stallion Series. Nice colt. Yesterday was not his best effort, but he'll be better. I need a terrible trip from 3-point blue chip, a scratch of Spitfire Overseas, and we don't talk about it enough. I'll tell you who raced great yesterday. Highest Honors raced great yesterday. 8 hole, 3 wide down the backstretch, 3 wide around the last turn, 5th beat what? I don't know, 3, 4? Raced great. Post 8 down in Scioto with a speedway. That is a tough hoe to row. Row to hoe. Trust me, I didn't have a stroke. I'm okay. Row to hoe. I believe it's the same. And then today, the pessimistic people are going to tell you the race bad. The optimistic people are going to, spit back out the lines that look okay. The reality is, I'm going to be a little realistic for a second. They just weren't good enough. Perfection Hanover isn't a Stallion Series colt. Not right now, he's not. May never be. Leland Hanover may not be a Stallion Series colt. Sweet Lake raced good. I think she's improving. That was the yard. She already won a Stallion Series, so she is a Stallion Series filly. She already won one. Where am I getting off here? Exit 50. Niagara Falls exit. Okay. Arrowhead Hanover, for sure, was a little bit sick. I just don't want to see him come back with a high liver. That is such a pesky, shitty thing to try and treat this time of year. High liver counts, not my favorite. Patrick DePrano was great. Seemingly pulled up lane left front after the race. They didn't bring him back to the winner's circle. Tim just showed me another video of him walking around. Veterinarian looked at him, said, I can't find a thing wrong with this horse. Well, I like that. But he's 10. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Let's check him again on Monday. Diagnostically. Now we got Blue Rare riding the rodeo tonight. Both should be fine. Aunt Lily, later on tonight, one of our clients said, the Consolation might be better after all. There's a lot of Buckeye horses. You're 100% right. Analytically speaking, the Consolation is probably a better fit. Here's my problem. Is she going to win the Consolation? Can she win the Buckeye final? She had trouble in both. Lots of good racing left for Aunt Lily. Let's just focus on where can she win today? Where can she win tomorrow? Where can she win next week? And if that leads to the Consolation or the Buckeye final or whatever, it's great. But I have to admit, you're right. Consolation seems more likely at this point. So that's this week. We're leading into Sunday. I'll be completely 100% honest with you. I am not looking forward to driving Foxy Seaside in my state right now. My back's very sore. My tailbone is bruised. My elbow will be fine. It's just skin. It'll grow back. I have dry skin on my elbow anyway. Just rip it off. But Foxy is going to run me through the ringer tomorrow. It'll be a heavy Advil day, I believe, tomorrow for Foxy. So that is what's up. Kentucky's going to be a little tough too. I guess I'll have to see how I feel tomorrow. When I get out to put gas in my car earlier on, I actually felt pretty good. Pretty good. Now, I will tell you this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm in Kentucky. I'm supposed to be in Kentucky. Tuesday, I have nothing to do. I'm going to go look at some babies at one of the farms. I'm going to maybe email Hunterton, see if I can swing by their facility and take a look at some babies on Tuesday. And as far as our babies go, I think they're all about to be sold out. Now you're going to see, there, we're at the restaurant. If you're going through Buffalo, it only took me about 8 minutes out of the way. If you're going through Buffalo, if you're going to Canada, or if you're just in Buffalo, there's a restaurant right here. It's at the Hyatt, and it's called Jazz Boline. We ate here in the wintertime. We were here for some reason. We stayed overnight in Buffalo at this Hyatt and ate at this place. It is really, really good food. My only concern right now is Amy's on her way to eat at this restaurant, and this parking lot is packed. And I did not get a reservation. That could be problematic. I hope it's not. So with our babies, all the ones so far have been sold out. I see some on the private market. Good for you. That's perfectly fine. We have 3 left. Cover My Short is Isa 10's brother by Green Shoe. He's going to be coming out next. And then we have Tomboy Strong's brother by I forget his name. Why can't I remember this horse's name? It'll come to me. And then we have one additional one more. I think the last two will sell like that. Capistrano Knight's sister. Now, apparently, as far as the Haley in Kentucky is concerned, she said, listen, I liked Capistrano Knights. She's a nice filly. She'll be ready in 3 weeks. But she said, nothing like this filly. Totally different. I am now, the one thing I am learning about the breeding, so to speak, is that the first foals can be a little smaller than the other ones. I'm not really sure why. It seems that's the case anyway. So we'll see how those two go. I'm sure they'll be easy sellouts because they weren't that expensive. Cover My Short is the last major. I love this family too. I will tell you this, and Amy was the one that reminded me. So far, we've had fillies in this family. Isa 10 was a filly. Her foal was a filly, and I like Pretty Eyes and Lies. I think she's going to be a decent little filly. I don't think she's a sire staker, Stallion Series filly just yet, but she'll be a decent filly for us. But the colts and the geldings in that family, that's where Lawmaker is. That's where Joey Pro was. The males in that family were predominantly better than the females, so I'm super excited about this green shoe colt. The shares, I think we have like 50 or 60 maybe. And I had talked to John. We're going to put them all up. We're going to let everybody buy them out if they want. Of course, we're going to keep some. I mean, that would be unfair to Amy. It's our mare. So that colt, I think Monday morning, 8 a.m., we're going to put the shares up. And it won't take long for the last two to sell out also with the prices that they're going to be. The asking price for both Tomboy Strong's brother and for Capistrano Knight's sister will be low because the stud fees were not expensive. So I think there's 3 horses left. The last 2 will sell out very, very quickly. This will be your last chance to buy a... I got to be careful what I say. I would say a decently bred horse. A very decently bred horse. Capistrano Knight's a homebred. The first filly has to make up some ground to bolster the rest of the family. And then, obviously, Tomboy Strong's colt is not by Long Tom. It's driving me crazy. I had it right here. Why didn't I just look? It's by Cover My Short. No, that's the green shoe. Lou Armstrong, Money's Tied Up, Travel Blog, Vine Staff, Centurion ATM. My apologies. So that's where we're at right now. I am not bad. I feel better than I thought I would as I finished up this video, and I'm getting out of the car to go in and get a table, hopefully get a table for Amy and the kids. I'm fine. Like I said, a little road rash, banged up my back and my tailbone, but hopefully I'll be all right for tomorrow because although I'm not looking forward to wrestling with Foxy Seaside, we got to get this filly going in the right direction. It just has not worked out well for us the last 3 starts, so we'll see if we can't get that done starting tomorrow night. So that is your week in an update form. It hasn't been a great week. We had some performances that were good. I was happy with Patrick today. I was happy with Looks Like Money. I was ecstatic with Judy's money. So there has been some high points. Perfect Thought was awesome in New Jersey. Great job by Scotty and Megan. And I was getting to it. I forgot to tell you an easy test. When I told our clients Perfect Thought won in 54, you'll have the people that say, well, it was a 3-horse field, and then you have the people say, yeah, she looked really good. There's the distinction right there between optimism and pessimism. And there's very little room for realism in that particular statement. So for all you pessimists out there, have a wonderful weekend. I know it hasn't been a great week. Things will come around. For you optimists, I'll be fine. Things are on their way. Better things are on their way ahead. And for you realists, keep it real.